Welcome to the Bill Cartwright Show with our special guest, professional basketball player, Georgetown alum, Chris Wright. Chris, welcome to the show.
Mr. Cartwright, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here. Appreciate
Let's
it.
just go, Bill. I'm really good at that.
Yeah, but you got to understand, it's hard for me. I seen so much of you in a different light. So, just out of respect, I say Mr. Cartwright first, but I appreciate that. I'll call you Bill.
Now, you've had a really interesting journey. I was looking at it last night. Let's just take it right from the beginning. And I just want you to talk a little bit about where you grew up. And I want you to talk a little bit about your mom and dad.
Yeah, no problem. I grew up in PG County, Maryland. I'm from originally from Temple Hills, Maryland, then moved to Bowie, Maryland. PG County, if people don't know about PG County, is rich in basketball history and tradition. It's the home of Kevin Durant. It's the home of, Mike Beasley and the likes, Ty Lawson, guys like that. Yeah, my dad is originally from Costa Rica. Moved to the States when he was 11 years old. And in New York City, was a Knicks fan. He's from the Bronx, So
I understand.
You understand? We're on the same page. So he's from there, and he grew up. He was a college athlete, Lafayette. My mom is from Montclair, New Jersey. My mom has been in real estate, my whole life. My dad has been in sales my whole life, So they've been well. I have an older brother, and my parents have been great. My parents been married this year. They just August 27th was their 39th anniversary.
Wow, that's just getting after it right there.
39th anniversary. Yeah.
Hey, can you talk a little bit about? I just want to know, in high school, what kind of kid were you in high school? Were you a sports kid? Were you an academic kid? What kind of kid were you?
I was definitely a sports kid. Academics was not my focus. Even though I liked certain things about academia, that was not my focus. I mean, when I was 10 years old, we won a national championship in basketball. Walt Disney World, we went down and won a national championship. Actually played against, at the time, I thought it was Steph Curry. We played against his little brother, Steph Curry, when they played with the Charlotte Stars. But in high school, by the time I was in high school and coming up in the area and the community, I coming up in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, it was basketball focused. It was like basketball or nothing. Like that's how people from this area was. It was rich. We working out, we playing, we competing, we going to this gym, we going to this gym. And we weren't really in the parks. We weren't in the parks at that time. We were inside in the gyms. And so for me, when I came to high school, I was just thinking about when can I get on the court. That's all I was thinking about.
Now, when I was in high school, I had a great high school coach, and I also had a great teammate who was a year older than me that kind of showed me the way of how to play and how to work. Did you have any influences like that helped you develop your game?
That's actually, that's interesting. So when I went to St. John's College High School, we had Dwayne Anderson, who was a senior at the time, who's now assistant coach at Villanova. We had Dante Cunningham, who was a rising junior, who played in the NBA 10 to 11 years, went to Villanova as well. We had Nolan Smith, who's now the associate head coach at Louisville, was coming in the same year as me. Him and I were coming in as starting backcourt on varsity as freshmen. And so those were my vets. It was guy was like, all city and all this stuff. I had 3 guys who were kind of all city that we can look up to. One was a senior, and then the next year it was 2 rising seniors. So we expected them. After my freshman year, everybody left. Everybody. There's literally nobody on my team that was returning that was on the varsity basketball team going into my sophomore year of high school. Completely different team. So I had nobody so I built a really tight connection with my coach, who I just talked to for like 3 hours 2 days ago, Coach Paul DiStefano. And we got, that became my lifeline, and we got real close. And it was during an era at that time when everybody started changing schools, here, going here, da-da-da-da. Everybody want to go change to trying to position themselves, to be whatever, trying to position. So I didn't do that. I stayed in one school. And I refused to move. And we got a really close bond because of that. So I didn't really have nobody to really look up to except for him, the coach. That was it. Players, no.
So after your senior year, did you feel like, I mean, were you being recruited? Were you being recruited heavily? And why did you decide to, how did you know what school you wanted to go to?
Well, I had game, man. I still got game too. So, I was one of those guys always highly recruited, highly sought after, highly regarded. So, I mean, my freshman year, I was getting with Coach K was walking with me in the hallways in school, as a sophomore in high school. So I was highly recruited. I originally had committed to North Carolina State. Committed to Herm Sendek. At the time, they had Julius Hodge there. They had Cameron Benjamin, Levi Watt. They had a good team. Julius Hodge was the man. And Herb Sendek got fired and went to Arizona State, became James Harden's coach. So I wasn't really, now thinking about it, I probably should have went to the West Coast, but at this time I was West Coast. That sounded like, for me, for a 17, 16 year, that sounded so crazy to me at that time. Like, go all the way over there for school and play ball. It just didn't make sense. So I didn't go there. And so that's how I ended up at Georgetown, and at the time, Georgetown was building, and went to the Final Four. And yeah, one of my good classmates went there with me. So I was recruited by everybody. It came down to me. For me, it was Georgetown, North Carolina State, Villanova, and Wake Forest.
So what was your final, why Georgetown? What pushed them over the hump?
It was home. We just came up they went to the Final Four. It had a senior point guard coming in. That would have been my freshman year. We had a senior point guard. So I felt being with him and connected with him. We had a junior shooting guard, Jesse Sapp, who was big time. The starting point guard, John Wallace, who is now works for the Timberwolves. And he was a senior. I mean, big time. He just was. John was that guy. When you come to a team, the guy that does everything perfect on the team, like the coach asks every single thing that he does. That was John Wallace. So I felt like being behind him and learning from him would just elevate me. So anyway, it just seemed like a great fit. We had Vernon Macklin, who I played with in high school in AAU. We had DeJuan Summers from Baltimore, who was a beast. We had, Roy Hibbert was our All-American. We had a great team. I felt that me adding myself and Austin Freeman to that mix. Jeremiah Rivers, Doc Rivers' son, also was on that team. I felt like we had a great mix to make a Final Four run and, see what happened from there. Everybody wins when you eat. Everybody does well when you win. So go from there. That was my thinking.
Talk about your coaches.
Love my high school coach.
No, your college coaches.
Oh, I only had one. I had John Thompson III. John Thompson III was my coach, JT3. Yeah.
So did you have a good relationship with him?
Great. I'm a point guard. I had a great relationship with him. Absolutely. I was his point guard for 4 years. I know the Princeton offense like the back of my hand, like that's what we ran. And unfortunately, I didn't necessarily I didn't like it, but I know it now, And no, we had a great relationship, We had a great relationship. He was very cerebral. He was an introvert, but extremely intelligent. Won a lot of games too.
Talk about your biggest win. There's two different things. Talk about your biggest win and talk about your best game.
That's a tough, man. So many battles. I would have to say, beating Syracuse in the Garden in the Big East tournament was big. They were ranked number 1 in the country. They won the Big East regular season, and we beat them to go to the finals. That was a big game. So I would say it's crazy. I would say 2 games against Syracuse. And the other game against Syracuse, which a lot of people probably wouldn't say is one of my best games, but I think it's one of my best games, is when I scored maybe 0. I think I scored 2 points against Syracuse, at Syracuse. but I had like 9, 10 assists and like 8 rebounds. And I played like, they played the 2-3. So I played in the middle of the zone. So everything was running through me and I was just making plays. That was probably my favorite game that I probably played. And we won. That was the first time we won in the dome in like 20 years.
Wow, that had to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, it's your senior year.
Yep.
So you're getting ready to leave school.
Yep.
What are you thinking? Are you thinking about the draft? Are you thinking about where you're going to fit in? So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to the league. This is my thought. Absolutely. And so February, my senior year, I broke my hand, broke my right hand. So we're left with maybe 6 games in the regular season. I broke my right hand, and I was having a great year. And I missed the last 3 weeks of the season. So, and we played terrible. Lost 5, 6 games in a row. Went to the tournament. Lost in the first round of the tournament to UConn when Kemba Walker went on his amazing run in the NCAA tournament. This first game of his postseason run was against Georgetown, and I was hurt. I couldn't play. We had a great matchup in the regular season. So we lost to VCU in the tournament. I rushed back tried to play with a broken hand. It didn't work. Lost to VCU. So I don't know. I was going through the draft process, and it was a weird time because at that year I was coming out was the NBA lockout. So as soon as the draft is over, there's no communication. You understand that what was going on at that time clearly. So for a kid that's been dreaming to play in the league his whole life, okay, you might not get drafted. Okay, but you can go through summer league, you can go through the NBA G League, you can go through, you can get in that formula and try to, work and hustle your way through. There was none of that coming out my senior year. It was shut down. Everything shut down.
So who was guiding? Did you have an agent? Who was guiding you through that process?
Yeah, I had an agent at the time. Doug Neustadt was my agent. Dang, I almost forgot my man's name. Shout out to he's a good guy. Doug Neustadt at the time. Yeah, it was a weird time. That's when guys were going overseas. NBA guys. Darren Williams was going to Turkey. Ty Lawson went to Lithuania. Lamar Odom was coming over. It was other, more guys. J.R. Smith, I think, went to China that year. Like it was a lot. It was a lot of people all over the place.
Okay, so let's talk about what happened. So where did you go?
So I ended up going to Turkey my rookie year. I went to Edirne, Turkey.
Why Turkey?
Because that's where it's paying the most money.
There we go. Because a lot of guys, when they go overseas, going overseas is not easy. It's you're away from home. Everything's different. Different country, different language, everything's different. So how did you find it?
I always, basketball was always my groundbreaker for everything. You go to new schools, you go to different spots, basketball was my, social bear. I wasn't a street kid. So all my lessons I learned in life was not on the street. It was on the court. It was whatever sport I was playing, in football, basketball. That's how I'm going to learn because it's what I'm doing. So for me, that was always something I knew I could go back to at a young age, early. I mean, 10, 11, I'm good at this. I can do this. And I can figure out everything off of this. That was a good thing for a young kid to have because you always got an outlet, I was always coordinated. So when I went overseas, the same thing. Keep the main thing. Do what you do. Go play ball and let the rest figure itself out. That's it. So make some money too. You gotta be happy about that. It's the first time you can actually get paid to play what you've been wanting to do your whole life. So shit, I was happy.
Yeah. Talk about the Turkey style of basketball and talk about how many other, for them, foreigners like you were on the team.
So they had just changed the rule to have, they had just changed the rule that you can have 4, at that time it was 4, you had to have at least 1 Turkish player on the court at all times. 1 or 2, I think it might have been, I want to say 2, but it had to be 1 or 2 Turkish players on the court at all times. And the league they got some Turkish basketball is really big. They're really big guys like yourself. and they allow them to play physical, allow them to bang. They allow them to set screens. They allow you to bump you with your screens and hit you elbows coming through the lane. Allow you to play ball. And it's respected on both ends. It's not seen as always somebody's playing dirty. That's the biggest thing I noticed about Turkish basketball. They play extremely physical, and they're really big.
So you enjoyed your first year there?
Oh yeah, they play good ball. Oh, no question. They play good ball. My year got cut short though, because I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in Turkey as a freshman. I mean, as a rookie, I have multiple sclerosis.
So let's talk about that really quickly.
Story takes a turn for a little bit. It takes a turn. Yeah, I don't think you knew this about me.
No, I did know.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So that's something I was going to ask you later, but let's ask it now. How did you feel, and how did you know there was something wrong with your system?
I did know. I went to practice. Like, so you have 2 practices. Say I have practice on Tuesday, 10 in the morning, 5, afternoon. So the next day you'll probably have 1 practice. You're not gonna have 2. So I went into practice. Say I have, 5 o'clock practice. I went in like 2:30, 3 o'clock just to shoot, get some work in. I lifted a little bit earlier, just getting some work in. And so as I'm in there shooting, I'm working on moves and working on stuff. As I started dribbling the ball, I started feeling as I'm dribbling, I feel a sensation come through my hand, like your hand falls asleep and you get that tingly feeling. Then as I dribbled again, it shot up my arm, and I started feeling it my body was like just vibrated type thing, and I felt it all way. And then after a while, within the next 20 seconds, my complete body was numb. I couldn't feel anything. I could feel myself touching and all that, but I wasn't able to. I mean, I could see myself touching, but I couldn't feel it. Told the team, I told the coach, I was like, yo, I don't know what's up, man. I gotta go. I can't feel nothing. Like, this is crazy. Literally, I can't feel nothing. I'm trying to touch. I can't feel anything. And went to the doctor. They told me to take the day off. And okay, take the day off. We don't know. We don't see anything wrong with you. I wake up the next morning not, thinking anything about it. And I go to stand up and take a step, and I fall completely to the ground. I collapse. I couldn't walk. So this is, now I couldn't walk. I had to crawl to just call my teammate to come help me out. So I went back to the specialist, to the doctor, and they told me, all these normal tests. Can you feel this? Can you feel? Nope, can't feel anything. They said, we don't see anything wrong with you. And mind you, I'm coming in here in a wheelchair. It was like, we don't see anything wrong with you, right? We don't see anything wrong with you. You can go back to practice. What? What you mean? I can't even walk. I can't stand up. So, I had some choice words, and I had to, because at this point I'm frustrated because I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden I'm running and jumping yesterday, but now I can't move, So I was frustrated. So I went off. I started smacking stuff off the table, saying every word that you can believe. And okay. We take you to a specialist. And that's when I was clinically diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So that's how I was diagnosed. And that was in Turkey. I was in Istanbul when I was diagnosed.
So what were the doctors telling you about? Did you think your career was done?
I didn't know what multiple sclerosis was at that time. So I had no idea what it was. I didn't know. I had no understanding of it. It's not a lot publicly written, that's given to the public eye about multiple sclerosis. Now it's being publicized more, but at that time, and even before that, 15 years prior to this, I'm saying 2010, 2011, even 15, 20, 30 years prior to that, there was no information. Or if it was, you look online, it's a death sentence. So I didn't think anything of it. So once I started reading up about it, I'm like, that don't add up to me, So that's how I thought about it. That was my first, inkling. I was like, that doesn't add up to me. It doesn't. You can't tell me that I can't run. I'm not gonna be able to play. I can't do this anymore now because I just was doing all that yesterday. So there has, you know what I'm saying? You can't. It's I just didn't understand. It wasn't making sense to me when I diagnosed, even though I was well beyond clinically diagnosed for multiple sclerosis.
Is there a thing where, like a milder case? Did you have a mild case of it? Is it either you have it or you don't?
Everybody's MS is singular to them. So it affects everybody. That's why it's one reason why it's no cure. Is because it's no common symptom. Everybody can be affected in different ways.
Right.
You know, that's the thing about MS. Is I can be, so people can look at me and like, you have MS, and then it could be another person, unfortunately, that's in a wheelchair. We have the same thing. You know, and that's actually an issue that I've had to deal with. Not an issue, but more of something that I've had to confront when I'm publicly speaking to people, you know, and I actually shied away from that for a time period. They're like, I don't believe you have MS. I don't see it. I don't, you know, and storm out, you know, because I'm like, but my story is, everybody is different, the way it affects. So it's no rhyme or reason on how to control it or how to, you know, keep it in remission, to be honest.
So when you were diagnosed and they knew that you had it, mm-hmm. What can you do to better your condition? Because you're already healthy. I mean, you're healthy, you work out, I'm assuming you eat right. So what can you do about it?
Well, you know, then you got to go to the heavy doctors, and they were like, just to understand, I guess, to better their knowledge, so they can, you know, proceed in the right way. They were saying that spinal taps, I had to do all different type of, you know, extra testing just to be sure. Also, they wanted to rule out other possible scenarios. That was the next step. And a lot of doctors, you know, for the right reasons, are more kind of conservative in terms of how they are going to treat a patient, you know. So in my case, where there's no one that's never played basketball, and I'm saying I'm playing basketball again. You're not gonna tell me I'm not gonna play. They're like, you know what? We don't agree with that. We haven't seen it. It's not a test, you know. So a lot of doctors were like, nah, I don't think you do it. You need to choose another career path. So that's where that was the next step, to be honest. So I had to find a doctor, and eventually I did.
So there's no medication or anything like that?
So there's several different medications. I was on a medication called Tysabri. Tysabri is an intravenous injection, and I get it once per month, continually, you know? So I did that. I was diagnosed. I did that for like 8 years, once a month, everywhere in the world. I was doing that. France, Italy, Israel, Turkey, everywhere. And then the last 2 years, with the advancement of medicine, I've taken a different medicine, which has been amazing, you know. Yeah.
So let's talk about your career after that, because you played in a lot of different places, a lot of different countries. Am I getting this right? You were in France, you were in Italy, you were in Israel.
Yep.
A lot of time in Italy.
6 years. Poland.
So yeah, you've had quite the adventure overseas. Talk about the best place that you enjoyed playing.
Best overseas in Europe. Best place I enjoy playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough question. It's.
Or did you like it?
Yeah, I love playing overseas. It's a great environment because the fans. It's a different environment. You know, you go to an NBA game. It's a show at an NBA game as a fan. It's a show. You got the big jumbotron. You got the DJ. You got the dancers. You got the cheerleaders. You got the shooting the cannon. You know, it's a show. You know, clap your hands, everybody. You know, it's a show in NBA. Great entertainment. I'm not complaining about it. Over there, it's like a lifestyle. Like it's like a pride family. We wearing these colors. And, you know, what the NBA used to be and sports used to be when it was guys were in, when you were in there, when there was guys on the same team for 5, 6, 7 years. So you can feel that pride behind and get to know the player. But that's how it is overseas. they on it, and the fans are living with you. So they coming and speaking to you. They're passionate. You have a good game, they're gonna show you crazy love. You have a bad game, they're gonna tell you how to do a game. and maybe more, you know. So that's part of the game. But they respect guys that come and play hard, respect their culture, and try to win.
Okay, so favorite city?
Favorite city?
Yep, you got to pick one.
I got to give you a top 5. You a top 5. I'll give you Istanbul, Berlin, Milan, Paris. Paris is nice. And I got to show love to Trieste. Oh, it's a couple cities in Italy too. It's a couple real nice cities. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to say. It's hard.
I understand.
I'm always going to have love for Poland. My daughter was born in Poland. So, I don't know. Europe it's good to experience and just go talk to random people and stuff.
Okay. Best coach that you coach with overseas? Best coach?
Best coach would be Davide Moretti. His son Paolo Moretti. His son played at Texas Tech with when they went on that Final Four run. He's in the NBA now. I can't remember his name. He's like a wing. He played on that team. They went to the Final Four. But we went to we lost in the championship in a European competition. He was a coach. He was a great coach. I loved his style. It's tough, but I love his style.
2 of your best teammates. I'll give you 2. I'm not going to give you 1. I'll give you 2.
You tell me your 2 favorite teammates.
I got a bunch of them. Patrick could be one of them, but
that's what I'm saying. It's hard for me to say.
Well, I do. One guy that I love, of course, is Louis Orr.
Okay.
And Trent Tucker and I spent a lot of time. We were in New York.
See, that's 3 right there. That's 3.
Yeah, but I've had like 150 teammates. So
right
in the NBA. So I've had a bunch. I'm just talking about guys that some guys bond, and you're just together all the time for whatever reason. Not that those other guys aren't great guys, but you're just together every day.
Every day, so that's easy for me. I talk to my college teammates every day. Greg Monroe, Henry Sims, Austin Freeman, Jason Clark, Aaron Bone. We literally talk every single day. So those have become brothers. We've become like that, over time. But yeah, so them for sure. Talk to them every day.
Okay, so what's next for you?
Well, right now I'm still playing. I'm a free agent. So if I get a nice contract, that's what I'll be doing. So I'm working out every day.
Where do you want to go? Where would you like to be back playing at?
Turkey or Spain.
So those are the 2 best leagues.
For me, I think.
For you.
Everybody has their preferences. I like France too. But I like the style of basketball in Turkey. And I like the style of basketball in Spain and France. France is an up and down league. They got great athletes. They play fast. They play athletic. I like that. I like that league. Spain is more like an NBA style to me.
When I was a rookie, I was already planning for my retirement. I knew I wanted to have my own business in some kind of service industry. And I was ready to be a McDonald's operator after all that brain power. That's what I came up with.
Yeah.
Do you have a vision of what you want to do? I mean, I ended up coaching. I was directed there. But do you have a vision of what you want to do after you're done playing?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to coach. I feel like in what capacity, I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like coaching is the best way to teach and to leave a legacy after you finish. And I feel like I would do injustice to myself and to the game of basketball if I didn't give back, uh, you know, with my knowledge and what I've been through. So definitely coaching in some type of capacity. Where and at what level, we'll see. You know, we'll see. But I'm not. I want to coach. I want to have some type of coaching. You know, I think that's important, even if it's not in sports. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be in sales, teach somebody else how to be a salesman. You know, but I do also have my own media company, which is Dog Talk Production, and we do, like yourself, we do podcasts. We interview former Hoyas. We talk to I talked to Kevin Durant. I talked to Quinn Cook. I talked to Herb Brown. I talked to David Cox, assistant coach at, he was the head coach at Rhode Island. He's now assistant coach at University of Maryland. And, you know, give different perspectives. I do a live morning show on Instagram every day on my show. And then I got my hands into several other things, you know, hustling like a Jamaican. I do government contracting.
You do a lot.
I do it all. I got 3 children and a beautiful wife.
Okay, so how much longer do you feel like you're going to play? I mean, I didn't know when I was going to stop playing. So
I don't know because I feel like I'm always going to want to say, yeah, I want to play. It's never going to be. I don't ever think it's going to be a time where I'm like, nah, you know, I just don't. I love the game that much. You know, I'm not going to say I don't want to play, even if you know, that may be the case, and I can do things I just love hooping. So for me, I don't know. I'm not even thinking about it really. I mean, if I was to stop right now because of how I treat it and how I experience, I look at my career, I'm cool because I went hard every single day. I left it out there. There's nothing I can say, you know, I could ask for more except for winning the championship. That's the only thing I would want to do. But other than that, I'm cool regardless, either way.
Let's talk about your family.
Most important, that's my village. That's why I've been able to play with multiple sclerosis. That's why I've been able to stay confident, you know, to still, you know, that's been my fortress. Every year you need you can't put into words how important a family is when it's the right way, how much it means and how much of a difference it makes in your life. You know, yeah, everybody has their issues. Every family has issues. Everybody's going to go through something. But when they really genuinely care about you and want your best interests and are there supporting you, you feel like you can accomplish anything. And that's what I've been blessed to have with my parents, my brother, my wife, and my children. So, I mean, that's all I'm about is family. My cousin Bruce, who connected us, you know.
Yeah. Bruce is a good guy.
Yeah, it's all family.
So talk about your wife and kids. Where'd you meet?
I met my wife in my high school. We didn't go to the same high school. I met her when I was 13 years old. I was a freshman. I was coming up to the school to work camp this summer, going into my freshman year. And she worked camp also because she lived near the school and played for with my coach's daughter in basketball. So they were on the same basketball team. So that's how she was working. She didn't go to the school, but she worked at camp. So we were friends for a long time. We met at the court.
That's amazing.
We met at the court, and it's been like that, you know. And not saying we dated all the time. We were friends, and we kicked it, and we hung out, and we went to like homecomings and did all that. College, we just stayed friends, you know. But as we got older and reconnected, we've been riding ever since, you know. So we've been married 7 years now. She's my best friend. We kick it all the time. We go. My family goes everywhere with me overseas every year. They're in school overseas. My wife comes. That's just how I move.
You mentioned your daughter. One daughter, one kid?
I got 3 kids.
3 kids.
I got 3 kids. My son, Chris Jr., is the oldest. And then I have Charlotte Maria. She's 6. My son is 9. Charlotte is 6. And then my youngest, Camilla, is 3 in 2 days, like 2 weeks. Yeah. So I got 3.
Yeah. So you're going to pass on the basketball legacy to your son?
If he wants to, that's on him. I'm really liking what he's into right now, which is baseball. he's loving that. I'm like, yo, let's do that, man. Let's, But no, I'm just glad that they having fun. I don't really care. I'm not gonna be one of those people that's trying to put nothing on them.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you will guide them the right way. I think you're very, very fortunate to be guided the right way.
Absolutely. I was fortunate. They'll see whatever they want to do. They can do it. They just gotta, whatever y'all want. Y'all the superheroes. The kids are the real superheroes in the world. They the real superheroes.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being on. You have a really inspirational story. I don't believe I know of anybody that had to deal with what you've had to deal with and be as successful. So you should be really proud of yourself, you and your family.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on and sharing your story.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here with you with so much knowledge and just so many great games I'm seeing you in right now. So for me to be sitting here with you is a pleasure and it's an honor. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you tell Patrick, tell him I'm okay after he beat me up a few times.
Oh, that's
after he was my teammate. Then he beat me up.
Why he beat you up?
Yeah, no, we were both aggressive players. It was bound to happen. It was just bound.
Yeah. We hopefully you gotta support your teammate. We gotta get this ship right over here in DC, man. We gotta get this right.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that I can visit, get to a Georgetown game this year.
Please do. Please come on out. We'd love to have you. All the support he can have, we need. So
Awesome.
But no, I appreciate it. I really do.